podcast. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Now, Carla, I'm excited to have you on the show for a number of reasons, not the least of which is your experience in the world of real estate, your prowess in business, and certainly currently what you're achieving within real property management. And before we get started, I always open up the conversation with listeners and I say, aside from the bio, which never does justice to my guests, their bios never seem to do justice. If somebody says to you, Carla, what do you do? What's your answer, Carla?
Right. What do I do? Right. I wear a few different hats. I think similar to yourself, Patrick. The first hat that I wear is I am president of Real Property Management Canada. So I help build the brand across Canada and work with offices day in and day out, and those interested in an opportunity in becoming an office within the system. And then I also run my own franchise as well. So in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, I have a property management franchise, Real Property Management Professionals, and we help small to medium-sized investors who are interested in creating wealth through the real estate asset. So those are the two hats that I wear, besides being, a mom, a wife, everything else that we do on a day-to-day. But yeah.
Sure. So when you consider, what you've got on your plate, you were a franchisee for how long now? Have you been in the property management side of things?
Yeah, so my franchisee life, working within franchises, actually started if I start talking about dates, you're going to know how old I am. So you can do the math from there. But back in 1993, and I started working with a Century 21 office, actually in Saskatoon, working in bookkeeping, and slowly moved through their office and literally did every position in their office, from bookkeeping to front desk to working in administration to supervising, then became manager, then became a broker, and then eventually with partners owned a number of Century 21 offices in the Saskatchewan market. And which I won't go into, it's a very long story, but then it just kind of morphed into this world of property management has so much opportunity. I loved watching what people could do with real estate, loved it. But they realized that they needed help. Not everyone was meant to be a landlord. Some are, obviously, but some aren't. And they loved being able to purchase real estate and what that could do for them. And they could see how that was going to appreciate year after year, but didn't necessarily want to do all of that day-to-day stuff. Mm-hmm. So I saw a need. And when the brand it was actually the family that owned the Century 21 group that then bought the master rights to real property management in Canada. And so I already knew that family from my Century 21 world. And then it was just a natural that we should add this into what we were doing. So bought the franchise. My partners weren't super excited about being in property management. They were realtors, right? That's where they came. And I was the operational manager and owner at the time and broker. But I really wanted to do this. I saw a great need. And so saw the synergy of those two brands working closer together, or those two industries. So I said, we're going to do it. And they said, if we're going to do it, you're doing it. So I did it. And then that just kind of kept me going. I slowly moved away from the Century 21 responsibilities and focused on building the property management brand instead.